transition somehow and move the stand and look smooth, but we'll see. I don't know about you guys, but I got a problem watching movies. You see, I have to be really careful what I invest in, because I have the same problem I have with people. When I meet somebody or I watch a movie, I get really invested in the main characters, and I get like emotionally attached, where I start getting hurt a little bit, and I gotta hide my emotions, you know? And trying to be a tough guy, it's not easy to hide your emotions sometimes. My sister sabotaged me a couple weeks ago. Anyone here watch the movie 13 Hours? Anyone seen that? Oof, man, that movie killed me, okay? It was a story about what happened in Libya. There was some team of special forces out there, and the U.S. ambassador was out in Libya. And what happened is his spot got blown up, and a bunch of terrorists invaded his house. And what happened is these special forces, these 13 people, they couldn't stand by and do nothing. But you see, them not standing by and doing nothing totally set them up to be attacked. What ended up happening is their spot got blown. So what ended up happening is, after trying to save that ambassador, they were stuck on this U.S. military base, and they had to defend it through the night. Because you know what happened is they were not able to get any aid until the morning. So they were on their own. Just about 13 of them, defending the land. And as they stood there in the beginning of the night, they were confident, they were strong, they were brave, they were amazing, they were confident in their abilities. But as the night progressed, more and more of these terrorists attacked. More and more of gunfire, more and more gunshots, more and more blood was lost. And as you watch this movie, you can see the anguish in their face as the night goes by. Because they knew this had to make it to the morning. You see, but everything was changing, like the morning was coming. But you could see it in their face. It just felt like the morning, they would never see it. The sun would never set while they were still alive. That movie rocked me. And as I was watching it, I was like just wrestling with God about that period in all of our lives when we're just kind of waiting to see God come through in something. And God gave me the verse in Psalm 130, verses 5 and 6. It says, I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in His word I put my hope. I wait for the Lord, more than the watchmen wait for the morning, more than the watchmen wait for the morning. What that meant to me was, the watchmen knew the morning was around the corner. They knew the sun was coming. It's like at the end of their shift, if they stay up all night, they're just like the anticipation that no matter how bad the shift is, the sun is definitely coming. But it says, I wait in the Lord more than the watchmen wait for the morning. And as I was wrestling, watching those guys on the roof, I could tell they had lost their hope. And when you lose your hope, like a piece of you dies. I don't know about you, but as your hope gets chewed up, it's like a piece of your heart gets broken down. A piece of you gets broken down. Your peace gets broken down. Your hope gets broken down. Everything about you starts to fade when your hope is gone. And I know some people here today can kind of relate to that. I'm going to bring up some topics like relationships. You see, we all have this dream relationship that we're all striving for. But after one heartbreak, after another heartbreak, I bet you some people in here are sitting today saying, I'm either going to have to settle with somebody I don't really like, or I might never find somebody that's going to fulfill me. And it's weird. It's not the beginning of the journey that's the hardest. That's what I've been realizing lately. The beginning of the journey, you have that ambition, you almost have that naivety, you have that energy, and you're fighting that good fight. But it's one heartbreak, another letdown. You put your hope in the wrong person. And in the middle of this journey, I feel like it's like the most hard to wait for the Lord, like the watchmen wait for the morning. Am I right? Some of you guys here today, I'm going to talk about your careers. You see, you've always since growing up had this idea that you're going to love what you do, you're going to love your job, you're going to be super successful, you're going to have nice things, a nice house, a nice car. But what happened? One letdown after another, one bad job after another, one mistake after another. And here you are, in the middle of your career journey, looking ahead, and you're really starting to doubt if you'll ever be in the job that you want to be in. You're really starting to doubt that you'll have a job that will fulfill you and give you purpose. And it's really, really hard to wait in the Lord, like the watchmen wait for the morning. And some of us here today are struggling with our health. It's what it is. You never saw it coming, you got diagnosed with something, and now you're in the fight for your life. Literally, the fight for your life. And you see, when the diagnosis first came, a shock. It took the wind out of you. But you fought through. But one setback, after another setback, after another setback, and it's really, 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 really hard to wait in the Lord like the watchmen wait for the morning. So that's you today. You might be asking yourself, what am I supposed to do? And I want to tell you guys today, please just hold on. You might say, how? You might say, why? You might say, what do I do? I'm just going to say, please, if that's you, hold on. I pray that that phrase, hold on, echoes in all of our hearts for the rest of our life. Just hold on. And to really wrestle with this today, really wrestle with this today, we're going to open up and learn about King Hezekiah. Anyone know who King Hezekiah is? This is an old school, Old Testament king that makes me proud, okay? This is a man's man. In the Bible it says there was no king like him before him, and there was no king like after him. That's what kind of man King Hezekiah was. And if you want to follow along, you can open up to 2 Kings chapter 18. He's such a big person in the Bible that 3 books of the Bible talk about him. 2 Chronicles, 2 Kings, and also Isaiah. And we're going to open up in 18 verses 1 through 8. This is like a story that I kind of want to narrate. So I'm not going to necessarily read all the Bible verses because we might be here for a long time. But I really want to dive in with you. He was 25 years old when he inherited the kingdom of Judah. 25. Interesting age, right? Right around some of us here today. It says, in the 3rd year of Hosea, son of Allah, king of Israel, he was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. Okay? Verse 3. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father had done. He removed the high places, smashed the sacred stones, and cut down the Asherah poles. He broke into pieces the bronze snake Moses had made, for up to that time the Israelites had been burning incense to it. Hezekiah trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel, and there was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, either before him or after him. He held fast to the Lord and did not stop following him. He kept the commands the Lord had given Moses, and the Lord was with him. He was successful in whatever he undertook. He rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. From watchtower to fortified city, he defeated the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory. Man, what an opening, right? This man was a man after God's heart. This man was a man conquering for God, leading for God. And he took his whole kingdom, who was so off and broken and crooked, and he said, no, we're going to serve the Lord. And he fought battle after battle in his hometown to bring people back to God. He fought battle after battle after battle to defend the land of his people. Imagine that. That should be exhausting. But what? He kept going, he kept fighting, he kept hoping. He hoped in the Lord more than the watchmen wait for the morning. Can I get an amen? Amen. But guess what happened? 4 years passed by as him conquering and winning and fighting and fighting and fighting. But then Assyria comes in the picture, this massive kingdom. And you know what they do? They overtake Israel. There's 12 tribes of Jacob, 10 of them were in Israel, 2 of them were in Judah. So a huge territory got broken down and beaten by these Assyrians. But still, King Hezekiah had hope. He had strength. He had purpose. Look what he said to his people. In 2 Chronicles 32, 7 and 8, after this started turning the tide, he said, be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or discouraged, because the king of Assyria and the vast army with him, for there is greater power with us than with him. With him is only the arm of the flesh, but with us is the Lord our God to help us and fight our battles. And the people gained confidence from what Hezekiah, the king of Judah, said. This man had hope, right? He was strong. He declared it. He was fighting and fighting and fighting. But you know what happened? 14 years passed by. And those Assyrians made more and more progress. They took the fortified cities of Judah over. And it's interesting to me that they didn't come and conquer him in the beginning of his journey. It's always, I think, in the middle of your journey that things start to wear you down. It's always in the middle, because you see what happens? That excitement and that energy and that motivation drives you through the first couple challenges. But when that fades, and it's the mundane, routine, everyday battles, things start to wear on you. I had a friend that one time told me, he's like, Fareed, you got to be careful. I said, why do I have to be careful? He said, even a car with an empty tank of gas can drive for 40 miles. Do you ever realize that? You can have an empty tank of gas. You can never recharge your car for 40 miles and you would have no idea. And I think some of us, as we get to the middle of our relationship journey, the middle of our career journey, the middle of our relationship with God, the middle of everything going on in our lives, some of us let our spiritual tank get a little empty. And we're used to running on empty. And it's only a matter of time before sin comes, for challenges to come that will wipe you out and take the wind out of your sails. You know what else I think why the middle is so hard? Because you never realize, but the little challenges and the little blows to your gut, they take a toll on you. You see, you might take them and move, but eventually, like a boxer getting beat to the body, it starts to take your wind out of you and starts to wear you down. And before you know it, you could be in the middle of a challenge where that challenge has stolen your hope. But you want to see what stole King Hezekiah's hope? It was the purest move of the enemy. You see, the king at that time of Assyria sent his messenger to Hezekiah to really shake up his confidence. If you want to read it, it's 2 Chronicles chapter 32, 10 through 19. Listen to this. This is like a challenge of all challenges. This is a hope stealer. This is what the king, Sennacherib, king of Assyria says. He says, on what are you basing your confidence that you remain in Jerusalem under siege? When Hezekiah says, this is what he said, not in front of Hezekiah, but in front of Hezekiah, all the men that were guarding his wall, all the men that were guarding his kingdom, they came and spoke in the common tongue. So not only were they trying to challenge Hezekiah's faith, they were trying to shake everyone's faith that stood around him to protect him and protect the area. He says, look what he says. He says, the Lord our God will save us from the hand of the king. He is misleading you to let you die of hunger and thirst. Did not Hezekiah remove this God's high places and altars? You must worship before one altar and burn sacrifices on it. It says, don't you know what I and my predecessors have done to all the people of the other lands? Where were the God of those nations? Were they ever able to deliver their land from my hand? Who of all the God of these nations that my predecessors had destroyed have been able to save the peoples from me? How then can your God deliver you from my hand? This man really spoke death over his hope, really spoke death over his kingdom, really spoke death over his purpose and his peace. And it finally got to him. He got shook. He got broke down, and he's hurting. And I feel some people in here can really relate to that. Once again, when you're thinking about relationships, man, are you starting to beat up on yourself? You're starting to think you're going to be alone the rest of your life. You're never going to have someone to love. It's coming in your ears, and it's robbing your hope, and it's killing you a little bit at a time. When you go to bed at night, you can't even sleep sometimes because it's robbing you of your peace. Same with your career, some of you guys here today. The job market is hard. Having a good career is hard. Being proud of what you do is hard. And the devil can come in, whisper in your ear, and start to rob your purpose, start to rob your hope, start to rob your energy. Some of you guys have been sick more than you can imagine. And you're starting to think that you'll never get better. And that's what the enemy wants you to believe. But you know what? I'm asking you guys, please, hold on. Just let that phrase, hold on, echo in your hearts and your minds. And I want to tell you, to actually hold on, you need to know why you should hold on. Am I right? You always need to remember why you should hold on. And I want to show you what Hezekiah did and what he revealed on why he held on in this situation. You see, when the messenger came, they didn't just come, they wrote him a letter. After he initially had refused what they said and encouraged his posse, they sent him a letter saying worse things than what they said initially. And it broke him. But you know what he did? He took that letter that they sent him. He went to the temple, he laid it down before him, and he showed it to God. And he poured his heart out before God. He read the report that they read to him, and he read it before God. And he said, God, save me. God, help me. God, restore me. God, strengthen me. God, give me my hope. Give me everything I need. Amen. He was broken before God. And he said, don't let these people destroy my people's trust in you. You see, he knew him holding on was much more than just about him holding on. It was about the people in his life that need to see him hold on. It It was about his family that needed to see him hold on. It was about his friends that needed to see him hold on. It was about the people that God brought into his life that needed to see him hold on. You see, guys, if you know who you're holding on for, you are much more willing to hold on. Guys, please, for your future kids, for your future spouse, for your own family, do not settle in your relationships. Do not dive into relationships you know are bad for you. Do not accept somebody that constantly hurts you and degrades you and makes you feel small, because God is not intended for that to happen. Some of you here today, you know where you're at in your job market is not for you. Do not give up. Don't put your head down and start whining. But keep working hard. Keep pushing forward. Hold on to the hope that God's going to take you where you need to be. And if you're sick and you're hurting and you feel have no energy inside, please hold on. Not only for you, but for what God wants to do with your life. Some of you guys have serious depression. It robs you of nights. It makes you want to end your life. It makes you think that it's better to have ended your life than to suffer in this world. I'm begging you. I've had people in my life commit suicide. I'm begging you, hold on. Because it affects much more than just you. It affects the purpose that God has for your life. It affects God's plans for your life. It affects your future happiness. That's not the only reason to hold on, you see. I'm going to ask you guys to open up to Galatians. Chapter 6, verse 9. It said, let us not become weary in doing good, for at that proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Could you guys repeat with me? Do not be weary in doing good. Did someone say that? Let's not be weary in doing good. I want to tell you guys something. Sometimes it's so hard to keep on going on. Sometimes it's so hard to hold on. Sometimes you put so much sweat and tears and time and energy and nights and everything you had into something, and it starts to wear on you. And you want to quit. Sometimes I want to quit half the things I do. But if you quit, all those countless nights, all those tears, all that sweating, all that energy, all that purpose you put into it goes to waste. You see, you don't see the fruit of what God was doing the whole time. And if that's you, I'm begging you, hold on until that proper time where you can see what God has been doing the whole time. If we quit too early, we might never see the fruit that's coming ahead of us. All those heartbreaks in your life, all those letdowns, if you give up, that was all for nothing. But if you hold on and hold on to God and you end up with who you need to be, it was all for a purpose. All those bad jobs, all those fired, all those hopeless events and actions from your bosses, if you quit, it was all for nothing. If you settle, it was all for nothing. All those hospital stays, all those times with medications and treatments, and all that counseling you did, if you give up, it could all be for nothing. But if you hold on, you can see the fruit that God is really doing in your life and why He's letting you go through it. Because we know our God is not a blind God. Our God is not involved God. Our God is the opposite. His hands are in everything. Nothing touches you without God first allowing it. And God is a God of redemption. God will redeem whatever is going on in your life if you let Him. That's the catch. You have to let Him redeem what's going on in your life. If you quit, if you turn away from God, how can God redeem what's going on in your life? You need to hold on. And the third part is a powerful, powerful part. And that comes from the end of King Hezekiah's story. You see, King Hezekiah literally laid down before God. He laid down all his fears, all his worries. He laid down this words of death and opened it before God. And he cried out to God. And he also cried out, and he heard from the prophet Isaiah, who was nearby. And I want to show you God's response to Hezekiah. I want to show you what kind of God that we serve. 2 Kings 19:32-35. And look what the prophet had said to Hezekiah. Therefore, this is what the Lord says concerning the king of Assyria. Listen to this. He will not enter the city or shoot an arrow here. He will not come before it with a shield or build a siege rampage against it. By the way he came, he will return. He will not enter this city, declares the Lord. I will defend this city and save it, for my sake and for the sake of David my servant. And look what happened. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. When the people got up the next morning, they were all dead bodies. So the king of Assyria broke his camp and withdrew, and he returned back to his kingdom. And when he returned back to his kingdom, his own sons killed him and took over the kingdom. You need to hold on because God is fighting your battles right now. God is fighting for your relationships right now. God is fighting for your purpose and fighting for your peace and fighting for your hope right now. God is fighting for your families right now. All you need to do is hold on.
Amen.
All you need to do is hold on. So listen, King Hezekiah held on, and we saw the rest of the story. You see, we saw there's a reason to hope in the Lord more than the watchmen wait for the morning. And I want to plead with you guys, please guys, let us not live without that hope that the sun is coming up. Because the sun is coming up because God's in charge. What's crazy is a couple of days ago, I was writing this message. God was stirring this up in my heart so bad. And I went to see a patient, right? And it's hard to talk about God with patients because you don't want to throw them off. But this patient, she had a simple surgery that was supposed to fix her life. And it destroyed her life. And after that surgery, she's had over 10 to 15 surgeries trying to fix the problem, only to make it worse. And now every day she lives in excruciating pain. She can't even pick up her 1-year-old grandson anymore. And I walked in the room when she was telling me her story and kind of pleading with me to help her pain. I sat there, and in my spirit, I couldn't just walk away without giving her something. So I looked back at her and I said, listen, I want to tell you. I said, God bless you. I said, please hold on. And she said, oh, God's got me. She's like, oh, thank the Lord. And then I looked at her and I shared that verse. I said, wait for the morning like the watchman wait. I messed up. You know what I said, right? Hope in the Lord like the watchman wait for the morning. And you know what she said to me? She goes, that's the craziest thing. Because the other day, I was telling my sister, I will not give up in my midnight hour. She said, I will not give up in my midnight hour. If you feel like you are in your midnight hour, I'm telling you, do not give up. Can I get a hold on in here? I've been telling you why you should hold on. I've been giving you a story of Hezekiah. And some of you here today might be thinking, I don't even know what it looks like to hold on. Like, what does it even look like to actually hold on? You can keep saying hold on all you want. But I want something tangible. So I got a story for you guys. There was this beautiful couple. They lived down south in Australia. And they wanted nothing more than to have babies. That's what they wanted their whole life. The wife was 27 weeks pregnant. She actually found out she had twins. But unfortunately, the twins delivered very early, at 27 weeks, very premature babies. And if you guys don't know, a lot of twins, they don't grow evenly. One twin usually grows a little bigger, gets a little bit more blood supply, is more healthy. And when they were born, her son, who she had already named Jamie, was declared dead at birth. And she was sobbing, she was heartbroken, her husband was sobbing, her husband was heartbroken. But she said, please, let me just hold my baby, Let me just say goodbye to him. So she grabbed him, and she held on to him. And she held on to him for 20 minutes. And the doctor's like, okay, guys, it's like time, give up the baby. But then she started seeing the baby move his fingers a little bit. And she said, no, I'm holding on to my baby. I'm going to hold on to my baby. And the next thing you know, she took some milk, she put it in his mouth, he started sucking. And he came to life. She held that baby on until life. What if I said to you guys, holding on wasn't you holding on, but was letting God hold on to you until He brings your situation to life? When I say hold on, I'm telling you to put your arms in God's arms. Dive into God's arms and let Him hold on to you until He brings your situation to life. Let Him give you comfort and purpose and peace. Let Him make you feel loved and valuable and important until He brings your relationship life to life. Let Him give you purpose. Let Him give you authority. Let Him give you direction until your career starts to align and it comes to where you want it to be. Let God give you the strength you need every night if you're sick. Let God restore your hope every night if you're sick. Let God hold on to you so that you get better. Let God hold on to you as you hold on to your family so they can get better. Can I have the worship team come up? Hold on, hold on. Don't lose sight of the people you're holding on for. Don't lose sight of what can come out of you seeing it to completion. And hold on, because God does not give up on you. God is out there fighting on your behalf. And as I was writing this sermon, two images came to my mind I couldn't shake off. I could never shake off. And that's the face of those soldiers as they waited on the rooftop. As they waited, as hordes of terrorists kept pouring in. And as the night kept fading, and they kept losing more and more hope, and that anguish in their face, that look of loss of hope in their face, that look of something in them was dying on that roof as they fought to survive. But at the same time, I got the imagery of Hezekiah holding what was before him, before God, and saying, God, please take this from me. God, I don't know what to do with this. Look at this thing in my life. It's eating me up. I want to challenge us all tonight to do something a little out of the ordinary. I want to challenge you to take that thing, that declaration over you that's been haunting you, and I want to take the next 5 minutes and I want to bring it up to God. I want us to say, God, here it is. This is what's haunting me. Take it from me. God, fight for me. God, hold on to me. I can't hold on to you anymore. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a song for us. And I want us all to turn to our friends nearby. You can take 2 or 3 people next to you. If you don't have anyone to pray with, I'm going to be right here. And just say, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I need to hold up before God. Please pray for me. And after you're done, I want to invite you guys to stand up and start worshiping. While people are praying, half of us are going to be worshiping. And at the end, we're all going to be worshiping, and we're going to close it in prayer and end the night. Does that sound good, guys? So let's all turn around. Let's go start finding people. If you don't know anyone nearby, just turn to the person to your right or left.